Sonic and Tails, just real quick to clarify, this is not a remake of Sonic Chaos. So I'd love to see someone take Sonic Chaos or any of the Game Gear games and kind of convert them into a Genesis form. That would be awesome, but this is a brand new type of game. Now, the full game is saying it's going to have a 30-minute time limit, or else Eggman's going to blow up the entire world using a doomsday weapon of his. It's going to be kind of cool to see what the final project is going to end up being. What I love is that this game originally had another demo on their website, but I would just say, just stick with the Sage demo. This one is a lot tighter, it is made up incredibly well, and it uses a fully created engine to run. Has pretty good original music, and there is a day and night cycle to kind of help tie in together this essential idea that time is of the essence. Now, I will say, if you do turn up your graphics settings on high, and I've got a pretty good NPC, you are going to have noticeable graphic issues on the right-hand side of the screen as you run. Also, towards the end of the level, I had an issue with a weird water blast cannon, not really giving me the height I need to continue with the stage. It seems to work perfectly fine the first time I play, but for some reason, I just couldn't get it to really work well on the second run without bashing my head in on my keyboard. Other than that, if these people can bring a feeling of impending doom with this urgent sense of time, that is the whole concept of the story, I am excited to see how this fan game goes. If anything, just like Emerald Ties, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on Sonic and Tails. And honestly, I believe you should as well. Sonic Battle Force. Strange that you kind of do need to use the mouse in the main menu to kind of bring up the really interesting control laid out. It's cool that the game has multiple playable characters and you're able to equip them with unique skills to help you progress through the level, but the game is just kind of odd. From a graphical standpoint, it's really a mess. It has a combination of Sonic Advance sprites on a 16-bit background with 16-bit enemies with strange hand-drawn gun crates, as well as this really weird glow effect. I just don't really know how to talk about it. The level design is kind of all over the place with pits and death, and if you die, it kind of like respawns you without really any notification that you really died, if anything. It's a neat system of skills, but then you have the stamina system, which just feels kind of out of place, especially when you have a character like Tails, who I swear to God gets a little gimped when it comes to the flying department. In the classic Sonic games, Tails is able to sustain himself for a good while. In this game, Tails can fly for at most maybe 3 seconds if he's lucky. I don't know. I would just say skip this. It's just... yeah, just skip this title. Sonic Beyond the Speed. It's a multimedia fusion game, and it's nice. It does a really good job incorporating some of the modern mechanics into a 2D game, such as boosting, light speed dashing, crouching to get under objects, wall jumping. It does a really good job kind of putting everything on top of it. And it's really nice that it has diagrams to help you and let you know exactly what you need to do, because this entire game is in what I believe to be Spanish. And because I don't speak Spanish or Portugal or whatever language this game is in, these diagrams were very, very nice. Yeah, wish there's a little bit more of this one, because it's really a joy seeing the mechanics work well, and this guy has done a phenomenal job at incorporating these modern elements into a 2D style. So, I hope to see this guy continue to incorporate more stuff like this into this game. Check it out. Up next, Sonic Boom and the Smash Crew. It's a Super Smash Bros. Parody clone with a mission mode. That's pretty much it. We're moving on to the next title, not spending too much time on this one. Sonic DL Adventure. I just can't. Somehow I was able to blow the screen up to try to get some idea what was going on, but it's just hard to see. And if you do try to change the controls, the second you get a game over, you have to reprogram them all over again. And my main question is, what does DL stand for? Is it download? Is it something else? Not a fan of this. It just doesn't control well, doesn't sound right. Static enemies, nothing's really going on in this. Just skip it. Sonic FTS. It's a game made with Unity, which should have a lot of promise. But it just uses stagnant 3D models, rather difficult to control, takes up a lot of time. I really didn't think it would be possible that Unity could make a good Sonic platform, but then, oh wait, we had Sonic Utopia recently come out, so never mind, Unity's a good system. It's really strange, because at this point in the time of recording, I just feel like I hit a slew of just bad games, and that's what it feels like, so we're just gonna kind of move on. Sonic Generations: The Lost Zones. For anyone who has loved the Game Gear and Sega Master System titles, this is definitely a demo you really want to play. It has the idea of Sonic Generations. We're going to take classic zones from the various 8-bit systems, remix the stages, put red ring-ins for collection bonus, and just have fun. It is definitely a fun demo to play. It consists of Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1 and Sky High and Green Hill Zone from Sonic 2. Very good levels. Can't wait to see the rest of this game worked out, especially when we start getting into the Sonic Chaos and Sonic Triple Trouble stages. This is one I can still easily highly recommend, and I'm excited to see where this project goes in the future. Sonic Haven Homeworld, another game designed in the Sonic Worlds engine, which is just beautiful. I really like this title. The only thing I had to make sure I did when I played is I had to play as Tails, mainly because the very first and only stage in this demo is quite possibly one of the most frustrating water stages I have ever played in a Sonic game. To the point where anytime I played as Sonic, I felt like I lost the bubble shield. I felt like there was no possible way for me to ever complete this stage. So, after a lot of frustrations, trial and errors, I decided to play as Tails just for the fact of swimming, and I could actually complete the level itself. But what can I say? The background is beautiful, stage design is fantastic until the water segment. But as soon as you're past the water segment, it gets good all over again. The HUD is smooth, the sprites are really well designed. This is a game I am definitely excited for and is definitely in my list of recommendations for Sonic games to try out at Sage. Up next, we have Sonic Heroes Warrior. It's interesting. It uses exclusively fan-made sprites, which for the characters looks very lanky at times. Almost like they tried to do a bit of a Sonic Boom recreation, mainly with Sonic, but then added the tall and lengthiness to Tails and Knuckles as well. I'm honestly not a big fan of any of the textures, the HUD, or the controls. It does need some work, but it definitely shows a lot of heart into it, so I hope they continue on with this project. Definitely not a project for me. Maybe some people get enjoyment out of this one. Sonic Incursion, it's another GDK game. This time it goes for a 2.5D route instead of the full-blown 3D one, as seen with the previous titles of Sonic Adventure 3 and even Green Hill Paradise Act 2 Final Mix. You can choose between Metal Sonic and Normal Sonic for this demo, comprising of 2 unique zones. Gameplay was smooth with a few hiccups here and there, the physics, but I seemed to really have issues when it came to building up my momentum again to go up a ramp in order to get to a higher point of the stage. There are also some times that Sonic launches when he goes off a ramp at full speed, where he just gets a little too much air for my liking. Outside of that, tried out the boss fight in Sun-Kissed Shore Zones. Nothing too impressive. You just gotta hit the other, I guess, fake Metal Sonic when its shields are down. And as soon as you're done, you're treated with an auto-scrolling jet ski act. Yeah, it's not a bad GDK product. I'll definitely keep my eye on this one. A little bit closer than I would Sonic Adventure 3, so if you're a fan of the 2.5 style, I would definitely recommend checking out Incursion. Sonic Mania fan game. This is more or less for those who can't wait for the release of Sonic Mania. This was fully designed in the Sonic Worlds engine, and it just features Studiopolis Zone Act 1. And they did a very damn good job getting the visuals down. Sprites are smooth and look great. Feature a cast of five playable characters, including Amy and Shadow, alongside of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. It's feels good. Just my one gripe is that size proportions just feel very off. Compared to the actual gameplay footage that we've gotten over the last few weeks, Sonic feels way too small in this environment. But it is a fan game to pretty much hold us over until Sonic Mania does drop sometime next year, and for that I do I am very thankful. So, if you can't wait for Sonic Mania, check this out and just have fun with it. Sonic Neo Genesis is a solid fan game. I was kind of shocked at first that I didn't have the spin dash ability, even though you do see me use it right off the bat in this gameplay video, but that only happened after I found a hidden medal that was in clear access point, which means that there are unlockable power-ups as you play through the game, which is a solid touch, which leaves grounds for multiple exploration paths, just to add longevity to the gameplay, which is always nice. Sprite work is well done, beautiful backdrops and music. This is a game I'm going to be having a lot of fun, and I can't wait to keep up with this title. Sonic Project Survival is a really nice demo featuring a very full zone mess around it. Has a great physics engine, beautiful stage design, as well as gimmick designs by having to ride on top of logs to make your way through a few sections. It does feature a nice hub world that's very reminiscent of Sonic Advance 3, which is a nice addition in my personal opinion. And as soon as all 3 acts were said and done, I was thoroughly enjoyed. I still wished, once again, that there was a boss fight to see how this game would handle them. But it's just a very fun demo. I had a few camera problems here or there, but nothing that really stopped me from being able to fully play the game. I am excited to see how this game is going to continue, and I will make sure I keep a very close eye and see if there's any recent updates as the months roll by. Sonic Project Twisted. I'm very conflicted about this demo. See, the concept of the game is that Dr. Eggman has fused together South Island and Angel Island, so all the zones in this game are supposed to reflect this twisted, converged idea. However, the only zone not to be affected by this was Emerald Hill Zone due to the fact it's on the edge of South Island. So the demo, for some unknown reason, has Emerald Hill Zone as the playable level. The remix Emerald Hill Zone is nice from a redesign standard, but if the game is to be focusing on fusions of zone, why not have one of these planned fusions? I'm going to keep an eye on this, but I really want to see how it all pans out before I give the game another go. Because as it stands right now, it just feels like a updated ROM hack. Sonic Revolution. This is another one of those weird Sonic titles that doesn't use a Sonic-made engine. As a matter of fact, it uses a fan-made Streets of Rage engine, which is pretty damn awesome in my opinion. It's a really unique take on using the special moves from the Sonic Battle series and implementing them into a Streets of Rage-like game, which is cool because it does have 2 different type of stages. The pseudo 3D stages that we know and love from classic arcade beat-em-ups, and 2D stages which are more reminiscent of Sonic games. This game also has a full character roster with unlockable characters as well, which ranges from models from Sonic Battle and has custom sprites for a few Satam Sonic characters, as well as the siblings of Sonic from Sonic Underground. Battling and setting up combos in this game is fun and frantic. I'm really impressed with this game, and I'm excited to continue to play this. Plus, you can have 4 players play at once for that good old-fashioned coin-op beat-em-up feel, which is always fun. Fair warning, though, it is a bit of a nightmare to set up a gamepad for this game, but hopefully with some trial and error, you should be able to get 4 people playing this without too much of an issue. Sonic Round 7 is a fantastic redesign of the Sonic CD special stages with gamepad support built in. It's nice because you can actually control how fast Sonic moves as well as how fast you want to turn. So instead of Sonic running at full speed right away, there's actually an acceleration button so you can control how fast you want the blue critter to run. It has a brand new goal now of grabbing 80 rings and making it to the goal on time, with UFOs counting as 10 rings each. As soon as you're done with getting the 7 Chaos Emeralds, you go into a really fun boss fight at the end of it, and if you're able to beat Robotnik, you then go into a Space Harrier 2 style credit sequence, which, if you're able to find a hidden exit point, will then take you to a Fantasy Zone special stage. It just oozes with love letters to classic Sega arcade gaming. Highly recommend to people who enjoy the Sonic CD special stages. This is just a hands-down recommendation. Go out, download it, have fun. Sonic Souls. It's another GKD 3D title. It's a full 3D adventure game complete with a hub world and many, and I literally mean it, many characters to choose from. To the designer's credit, each model is unique and is not static. There are times that the jumping feels off, and there were moments where, even though you're in a 3D field, it kind of locks you into a 2D mode, which really doesn't make any sense. Now, I wish I could show you more of this game, but for some reason, as I was playing and recording this time around, it locked me in the very first section. Even though I completed the tutorial, it wouldn't let me move on to the rest of the hub world. So I got a feeling the project is still a little bit glitchy, even though it's a full title, no demo. When you download this, you're downloading the full game. I am really impressed that it is a full, complete game. I really do give credit to the people who made this, and I do want to try coming back to it now and then once the controls, they do take time to get used to, but I've got a feeling once you really have them down, it's going to be a fun 3D title. Let's just hope the next time I play it, it actually lets me outside and into the rest of the hub world, because as of now, that just kind of blows my mind. Sonic vs. Darkness. It's a very lame title, but don't let the title fool you, because this is another good fan game demo. This game has 2 full zones as well as a boss fight in each of them. This game has the look of a Sonic Advance title, but it feels and plays just like the Sonic Rush games. Don't really know what a story is as of this moment, but it does let you pick between Sonic and Shadow as playable characters. Now, there is a rest stop you can take before you go into each of the new zones, or you can go ahead and head into the shop here to buy stuff with your accumulated rings. As it stands, you only have the ability to buy extra lives, but I'm really interested to see what exactly could be in this shop. If anything, could be exactly like the shops within Mega Man 9 and 10, where you have the ability to buy shields, protect you from spikes, boost your boost gauge, give you unlimited boost. It's pretty much full-blown what you could do. As far as the boss fights go, I wasn't really a fan of Nightlight Paradise's always running boss fights. I've never been a big fan of the boss fights that are featured in Sonic Advance 2. I felt like the momentum just wasn't there. If you lagged behind, there really was no way to truly defeat the boss. That's why it made me incredibly happy to see a standard arena boss fight for Sunlight Paradise against a giant Kraken. The game feels amazing, stage design is beautiful. I am looking forward to see what they do to this game in the future, because it is a blast to play. It feels like a full-on sequel to Sonic Rush, and that is a beautiful thing in my opinion. Sonic Utopia is probably, as it stands right now, the king of 3D Sonic games. It takes classic Sonic platforming and just intensifies it. The second you get thrown into this open world game, it is literally yours to explore. It is a massive map full of many different hidden areas, challenges, and things to face as you just free roam through the area. It does have a definitive end, but the fun of this title is just the full-on exploration you've got. And it contains the same momentum physics that you find in your classic Genesis titles. And much to this game's credit, Sonic does stick to the ramps and stuff, but at least if you have momentum, it works. I don't know how, but it just works incredibly well. The game does have gamepad support, but I was not able to get it to work at all, much like Sonic Worlds Release 7. However, this game is so simplistic that it is very easy to play this with just a mouse and keyboard. Out of all the 3D games I've played, this is the one I really can't highly recommend enough. It's right up there with Green Hill Paradise Act 2 Final Mix. So please give this a shot, enjoy it. It's a blast, and I'm really curious to see what this team is going to do from here on out. And it's made in Unity, which after playing the other Unity-based Sonic game, I can now say I have full hopes with the Unity engine. from this moment onward. Just go play Sonic Utopia. Now, although this is Sage, I do want to take time to at least mention one non-Sonic title, but I feel like this game does really need to be mentioned, and that is Spark the Electric Jester. This is the latest game that's being developed by Lake Pepper, the same person who created not only Sonic before the sequel, Sonic after the sequel, but also Sonic Chrono Adventure. This is his full-fledged original game that was successfully kickstarted and is supposed to be coming out sometime next year. This game takes the platform Sonic but combines it with the abilities of Kirby, and it is a fun title to play. Each of the different abilities you can find changes Spark's unique personality around as he goes through the levels, using these different abilities to help him out defeat the robots that are trying to take over the world. I do think some of the abilities are a little too overpowered. Hopefully they do get nerfed a little bit in the future, but this is a game I am dying to play full release once it finally comes out. So by all means, if you are a fan of Lake's earlier works, please check this game out. I am super excited for this game to come out. And that is it for Sage 2016. I had a lot of fun getting a chance to play all the different titles I checked out from Sage this year, as well as editing everything together in this two-parter review series. Now, if I actually had to sit down and make a top 3 list for what games I believe people should really be paying attention to at Sage this year, the list would be as followed. First and foremost, before we get to the actual list, I do want to give a honorable mention out to Sonic Haven Homeworld. Beautiful game design in the Sonic Worlds engine. I'm actually a big fan of the Sonic Worlds engine altogether. A lot of my favorite fan games are actually created in that now that I think about it. But with Haven Homeworld, it was very spot on, had a perfect physics engine. Sonic never really felt like he stuck. Everything had a purpose within the environment, even all the annoying underwater enemies that kind of hindered my process until I played as Tails. But it still felt great, polished with a lot of love and heart within it. Even though the stage itself is a really difficult water stage, I'm definitely excited to see what more the creator of this game has to offer for us if he gets a chance to get back to work on Sonic Haven Homeworld. My number 3 spot will go to Sonic vs. Darkness, The Nightmare Revealed. Very long and strange title, which not gonna lie, if you read the title and saw just like the screen itself, you were like, okay, it's gonna be one of those fan games. Oh, crap. But then you sit down and play and it's like, oh my god, it's Sonic Rush all over again, which is exactly what I felt when I played it. I was a huge fan of Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure. Most of my memories of Sonic Rush involve when the game originally came out. I got my wisdom teeth removed, and the only way for me to kind of go through the pain, besides the Vicodin, was playing Sonic Rush on the DS. And it just blew me away. It was the really first time we got a true sense of speed from a 2D Sonic game, thanks to the inclusion of the boost bar. And Sonic vs. Darkness is exactly Sonic Rush, using Game Boy Advance sprites. We've got the boost bar in there. We've got the robust trick system when you launch off of trick ramps. Enemy placement is perfect and not overall ignored. Kind of like how Sonic Advance 2 really did their enemy placement, where you could kind of run under every single enemy. But everything has a rhyme and reason in there, and even the boss fights were a lot of fun. Even though I'm not a fan of the always running boss fight mechanic, I did enjoy Nightlight Paradise's boss fight once I got the hang of it. I'm excited to see where the creator of this game goes, and it's definitely one of the projects I hope, really, really hope has a future ahead of it outside of Sage. Number 2 on my list is going to be Sonic Emerald Ties. Now, it's funny saying that considering it was one of the first games I played from Sage this year, and typically how these things go, especially when you've got 9 gigabytes of games to burn through in one sitting, you tend to forget about the games that you start with. But throughout the entire run, my mind kept going back to Sonic Emerald Ties. It just was so well done. Everything from the physics engine, the graphics, both the hand-drawn graphics for the foreground, background, Sonic, the enemies, the original music composition. I can still hum a lot of the themes from that brief demo I got a chance to play, as well as the not shying away of putting in their own content as far as shields go. I really wish I could have shown off how awesome the Tornado Shield was, but unfortunately recording it just never ended up happening, unfortunately. I'm excited for this title. I really hope they continue to work on Emerald Ties, and it just doesn't go into the back burner like a lot of the Sonic fan games out there. About 10% of Sonic fan games that are ever really shown to the public through fan events like these rarely actually make it to full development cycle and from start to finish, which is why I hope the games on this list actually turn into something pretty rad. And I really, really hope Emerald Ties is turned into a full-blown game. Now, the number one game on my list really shouldn't be a shock, considering how much I talked about it, both when I was reviewing it, as well as when I was talking about the other 3D Sonic games I played at Sage this year. But number one easily goes to Sonic Utopia. I mean, this is probably the best 3D Sonic game I have played, both official and unofficial, just because it brings back memories of classic Sonic, but in a 3D environment where momentum-based gameplay honestly matters for the environment. Being able to turn into a ball at the downward incline of a loop, being able to launch myself far off into the distance, it's magical. The huge open world environment is also a big plus for me, because it contained a lot of hidden secrets that I didn't get a chance to show during my initial playthrough, such as a really unique nod to Labyrinth Zone, and a really kind of cool looking pink crystal-like cave that's hidden off in one of the wall distance of the level itself. I'm really excited to see what the Utopia team does from here on out, if they're going to more or less rebuild Sonic 1 as a 3D open world game, which would be really awesome, but I would also love to see them try their hands at unique stage designs as well. I haven't really been this excited about a Sonic 3D game since, Robo Blast 2 came out. Oh, jeez. A long, long time ago. I really hope the Utopia team continues through with this project, because that will make me very, very happy to see what the final product ends up being. And that's really it for Sage. If y'all liked this series of videos that I have done for this, by all means, please like and subscribe below, and I will see y'all next adventure.